The episode 7 trailer for It Welcome To Derry has just been released, and following an episode that gave us a ton of revelations, it really does feel like this episode is going to give us something special. I feel like back in the day, well, maybe even only a decade ago, penultimate episodes arguably always used to be more dramatic and epic than finales, and after reading the title and seeing the trailer for episode 7, this is most definitely going to be that. So with that, I wanted to take a look at all that was out there, break down the trailer, and also give my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. Here is It Welcome To Derry episode 7 trailer explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. So let's start with what we currently know about the episode. Well, we know that the episode is titled The Black Spot, and with the way that the previous episode concluded with the former chief and the other men that were in the bar, which I believe is the Legion of White Decency, which we haven't heard being spoken about but caught a glimpse of their emblem on the Paul Bunyan billboard back in the opening scene of episode 1. I think it's going to be mainly focused on the attack that's going to be taking place inside of the Black Spot, which is the establishment that Dick Halloran opened up with his friends. Within the novel and also The Shining, this is a key event that Halloran refers back to, and it's most likely going to be considered the massacre that takes place in this timeline, as I think there are going to be many deaths that end up occurring. So now let's dive into the trailer. When the trailer first opened up, we heard the speaker from the carnival in episode 3 standing on stage and saying the line, "Gather round, little friends, gather round." This instantly establishes the time period that the flashback is going to be set in during episode 7, and it's going to be back in 1908, where we'll most likely see Ingrid as a child and her relationship with her father, Bob Gray, the very person that she misses most in the world and was the driving force behind why she essentially became a feeder for Pennywise in bringing him children from the ward that she worked on inside of Juniper Hill. There's something about when the speaker said, "Gather round, little friends." It's exactly the cuisine that Pennywise goes for, so there's something haunting about them all being rounded up so easily and seeing how the appeal of a clown was what worked to get them there. Following this, the speaker then said, "And feast your eyes on the amazing Pennywise the Dancing Clown." With this again, using the word feast and associating it with people sitting there watching Pennywise is a choice of words that I think provides an uncomfortable edge, because usually it's the other way round. Pennywise is feasting on those that are in front of him. As this was being said, we saw Dick Halloran looking like he was struggling. This to me shows that the black box that was opened by his grandfather, which was actually Pennywise, is going to be plaguing his mind, and he's going to continue seeing the dead that are haunting him. In the previous episode, the only way that he was able to block out the noise was by him quite literally consuming alcohol, so if the effects wear off, I imagine they're going to come back. I also wonder if this is something that could potentially occur after the burning of the Black Spot. I feel there's going to be many people that die, people that Dick Halloran cares about. Him and the people that he cares about most have been outcast to this place in the middle of the woods because of the racism that's present in Derry. So I feel he could end up being haunted by all of the faces of the people that he ends up losing. It's daytime in the trailer, so that's what also makes me think that too. In going back to the 1908 part of the trailer, after the carnival speaker introduced Pennywise, we saw him enter on stage, and what it's clear to see is that this is Bob Gray as Pennywise, not it as Pennywise. There's clear differences such as the movements in the character and the fact that Pennywise is actually acting like a dancing clown and not like a hungry menace. He's being silly and trying his best to make the children laugh that are in front of him. There was a clear focus in this trailer on the kids that were laughing, which I think is deliberate because it shows the entire reason as to why it decided to adopt the persona of Pennywise the Clown. Kids absolutely loved him and weren't afraid of him, so his food was almost naturally drawn directly to him. So even though they're laughing in this scene, it's actually quite a haunting moment. This was also when the phrase "the dancing clown" was being repeated over and over and over again by the carnival speaker as Dick Halloran's mind looked as though it was being tormented. I feel it became a repeated motif in the trailer because Pennywise the Clown is literally the being that's scraping through Halloran's mind and laughing at the pain, misery, and discomfort that it's causing him, and Halloran's going to want to find a way to make him stop. Following this, we then cut to the present timeline where the former chief and his men had entered inside of the Black Spot. The chief had a weapon in hand, ready to go, and the people inside the Black Spot were frozen in fear due to weapons being pointed all around them. All of Clint's men were wearing masks, but not any old masks. Masks of figures that were perceived to be stuff of nightmares, such as vampires and werewolves. I thought that was an interesting touch because it's almost subtly hinting at the fact that nightmares exist in both reality and inside of the characters' minds inside of Derry. This is due to the racism that's present, the effects that get felt because of that, but also because of Pennywise the Clown entering their minds too. It's an inescapable cage of pure horror. The former chief Clint Bowers said the line, "Give us what we want and we go away," Hank Grogan. As we know, Clint believes that Hank is responsible for the disappearance of Teddy, Matty, Phil and Susie and plans on dealing with him himself along with his group of thugs. This is because he lost his position as the chief of police, so he couldn't even arrest him if he tried. This not only means that he wants to punish Hank for the disappearance of all of those that have gone missing, but he wants to punish him because he feels as though Hank is the person that cost him his job and made him look like an incompetent chief. However, the members in the Black Spot aren't going to hand him over to them because they know full well that Hank and his men are essentially an angry mob and are going to kill him when he hasn't even stood trial or had any solid evidence against him. Following this, we saw the real Bob Gray with Ingrid dressed in her clown outfit, and he said to her, "Show me the bow." This was as she then proceeded to bow for her father as he was smiling at her. This is obvious that it was the real Bob Gray too because he was in the middle of putting on the makeup or taking it off as it was only partially spread. I think this whole part of the story is going to be focused on not only showing us how much the kids loved Pennywise the Clown, but how much Ingrid loved her father, Bob Gray, how close they were, and the true pain that she felt when she believed that her father just went away. Ingrid clearly has a messed up state of mind if she believes that her father is trapped inside of the entity of it, and I think that's all going to stem from the denial that she's going to be in over the fact that she just simply can't let her father go. I also think the purpose of this is that we could potentially see that Pennywise did actually kill Bob Gray and that he didn't just leave with the carnival. So I imagine that if Ingrid does end up finding that out in the next episode, we're gonna see her heart broken even more. But I think it could be quite cool seeing it actually coming face to face with Bob Gray and seeing him adopt the persona in front of his very eyes before killing him. Bob Gray and Ingrid clearly had a close relationship when she was younger, so I don't buy that he just left the carnival when it moved on and then never came back to see her. After this, we then saw the damage that was going to come to the Black Spot. It was lit up in flames. There was also a large focus on Dick Halloran as this scene was taking place. It's said that in the story, he actually ends up saving some of the kids from the fire, so I think we'll most likely see that taking place on screen, hence why Ronnie was standing right next to him. The scene of the fire was intercut with the Bob Gray version of Pennywise the Clown dancing on stage, and I think this is being done because it's being teased to us that Pennywise is going to make an appearance during the burning of the Black Spot, which is what we saw towards the end of the trailer. This was actually the final thing that we saw, Pennywise emerging from the flames and grabbing somebody by the arm, and I reckon, sadly, it could be Rich. We haven't seen an individual or direct interaction between Rich and Pennywise in the show so far, and with Rich finally getting an ounce of happiness with Marge, I feel like that could potentially mean curtains for the character. Pair that with the fact that when he flew his aeroplane from the top of the hideout, it flew directly into the sewer. It could be alluding to the fact that it's game over for him and he could end up being claimed by Pennywise. The burning of the Black Spot is something that I think is going to cause a large number of deaths in the show, and it's essentially the massacre that the season has been building towards. Pennywise's last feast before his cycle ends and he goes into hibernation, so I'm intrigued to see just how devastating it's going to be and the sheer amounts of suffering that's going to be caused. The sad reality of it is that Pennywise didn't even directly cause this one. The underpinning racism that was present in the town of Derry will be the very thing that fuels the massacre that'll go down in history. Based on the trailer, episode 7 is one that I feel is going to be one to remember. It just looks like pure carnage, nightmare-inducing chaos, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. So, there you have it. It Welcome to Derry episode 7 trailer explained. If you want to see more videos on It Welcome to Derry, then check the playlist below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. What do you think will happen next? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.